want to presume that the person seated in front of us is Dr. Joyce. How do I know? You have your original ID. Please give the sergeant a time to bring it. Welcome to Kisumu County Assembly. This is appointment committee. We have several committees. This is one of the committees called appointment committee, whose mandate is to do vetting for all the nominees of the governor. So sometimes back we received a letter from the governor and nominating you for the position of county executive committee member for water, environment, natural resources, and climate change. As a requirement, you are supposed to go through a vetting process. So I want to welcome you to this committee, but I want to tell you that feel free. It's not an exam room. We just want to ask you some questions because you already have your response in the questionnaire plus your CV. But before the assembly make a determination, we will ask you some questions. Later, we will retreat, do a report on you. And these members who are seated here will try to convince the members, the whole house, on what they think of you. So I want you to feel free. But before we proceed, and even before I do introduction, you are supposed to be on oath. It's a requirement that whatever you say remains the truth and remains your words. So I will ask the clerk to assist you. In the same, you will tell him whether you are a Buddhist, a Christian, a Muslim, a pagan, and then he will assist you on how to take the oath. So clerk, proceed.
Okay. I, Dr. Joyce Okayo, do solemnly and sincerely swear that every word that I shall utter before this committee is the truth and nothing but the truth, and that every statement and declarations that I shall make shall be made conscientiously, believing the same to be true and according to the oaths in Statutory Declarations Act. So help me God.
Good. Thank you so much. Now we have some house rules that I'll bring to your attention. Number one, in front of you there is a book and a pen. So as we'll be asking questions, we may ask more than one question. So you can be free to take notes. But when you are answering, answer them in the priority that you want. If you ask maybe 2 questions or 3, you can decide to start with the third one or the fourth, but you tell us. So it's upon you to decide the priority that you want. If we ask you any question and you fail that you don't want to answer, just tell us to pass so that we save on time. Just tell me pass. Now, any question that is asked will be asked through the speaker, the chairperson. And when you will be answering, even if a member asks you a question, you will not be answering the member, you answer me as the chairperson of the committee. You address me in simple terms. There is a microphone. Such a time, can you put the microphone in front of the nominee? It's very simple to operate. When we give you a chance to respond, just press the button. Then it will turn red, you speak. Immediately you are through with speaking, press the button again. It will be off so that other members can proceed with the questions. Now, next to you is a Sergeant at Arm. She's there to assist you. If you need any assistance, just whisper to her. She will be able to assist you. But I want you to feel as free as possible. For the sake of time, I will introduce the members. So I will start by myself. My name is Elisha Jakoraro, the Speaker, County Assembly of Kisumu, and the chairperson of the appointment committee. I told you earlier, one of the roles of the appointment committee is to do vetting for all the nominees of the governor, and we received a letter nominating you for a position in Kisumu County. That is the CC member for water, environment, natural resource, climate change. And on my left is the clerk of the committee, Herman Moses. Down there, on my extreme left, we have Honorable Seth Kanga. That is the MCA Market Milimani Ward, the whip of the assembly, and a member of the committee. Next to the whip is Honorable Eunice Alando, specially elected MCA and a member of the appointment committee. Then we have Honorable Karen Ajuang, MCA Kaloleni Shaurimoyo Ward, member of the committee. Next to Karen, we have Honorable Moses Ochele. He's a friend of the committee, but the MCA for is, away. Honorable Moses, I want you to come forward. Don't sit in behind the nominee. Can you sit this next chair? Yes. Now, on my extreme left, on the bench behind Honorable Seth Kanga, is Honorable Samuel Dede. Samuel Dede is MCA of North Kisumu Ward and chairperson of the committee that you are nominated to head. That is chairperson of water and environment, natural resources, climate change. And now a member of the committee by virtue of being the chair. Then we have next to him is Honorable Boyton Ratib, MCA, Alenda A, member of the committee. Then we have Honorable Ken Oko. Next to Boyton, Honorable Ken Oko is the leader of majority, member of the committee. Then next to leader of majority is a friend of the committee, Honorable Alice Wajewa. Alice, I want you to sit next to majority so that the nominee is able to see you comfortably. Wajewa is a friend of the committee. We have got behind me here the Sergeant at Arms. If you see that uniform, anybody you see in that uniform is the Sergeant at Arms. There's one at the door there. There's some behind me. Then we have our ICT person. Now, this vetting is public. It's a public vetting. I'm saying public because see this guy here. is live. The public are able to see what we are doing. So know that if you have a daughter somewhere, maybe she's watching you or a friend, even including the governor, will be watching you, but feel free. Last rule, our phones silent mode, including yours. If anybody want to do any conversation, you use this door. That's for the members. Use this door, not the door behind. It's completely locked. And now I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself. Unfortunately, we had the privilege of introducing ourselves, but I will dictate how you introduce yourself. I will give you 3 minutes to introduce yourself in this manner. 1, you will kindly prove that you satisfy the requirements of Section 44 of the County Government Act 2012 with regards to your education levels in line with the position that you've been nominated to head. 2, you will tell us the experience you have that makes you the best candidate for the position. Just those 2 questions. You will tell us your name, but tell us your qualifications and convince this panelist that you are the best candidate to head the Department of Water, Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change. By the way, if you do that one well, I don't think these members will even ask you questions. They will just say, So if you can maximize on that 3 minutes, Dr. Joyce will be home. So before you start, I need your original testimonials. So please give them to the Senator Tam to bring them. Just bring this, okay. They will come back to you. And your 3 minutes starts now.
Oh, thank you, the speaker, for the introduction. I'd like to say I am Dr. Joyce Okayo, born and bred in Homa Bay County. I went to school at Homa Bay Primary School, then moved to Uganda Girls High School. Thereafter, I went to a diploma college for education. My background majorly is on education. And later on, I went and studied disaster management and humanitarian assistance at Masinde Muliro University. Thereafter, I got an opportunity to study climate change mitigation and adaptation in Sweden for 6 weeks. It was an intensive course. And if I looked at what we covered in the climate change mitigation and adaptation, it's related to water, the water that I'm supposed to be the county executive committee member for, because climate change has a disruptive effect on the weather patterns, as well as water scarcity and many other things that are related to climate change. So in that sense, I have a feeling that with all that information that I'm carrying and bringing to this county, I should be able to give you the skills that you require for somebody to work at the county executive department for water, natural resources, environment, and climate change. Now, the experience I have in terms of that water and climate change is as follows. After I started climate change mitigation and adaptation, then when I came back to Kisumu, one of the projects that I had intended to do was on creating awareness with the school children of Kisumu through education department. Now, what happened, the project began, but somewhere along the line, we had what we call, there was post-election violence. So in the process, even what I was writing about post-election violence, the climate change did not come up. But if I looked at that unpublished report, if I may have brought it around here, I'm seeing that the information on climate change, and having been taken through as an international training with lots of information and the people all over trying to find out what is it that climate change is all about that we can do that can be useful in terms of mitigation and adaptation. I think that's all I can give to the people of Kisumu County.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joyce. Allow me, if I call you Joyce, just accept it going forward for ease of reference. So Joyce, I'm seeing your submission to Office of EACC was in January 2023. Where is your current submission?
Hello? Okay, allow me. Yeah. Okay, yes, that is 2023. Allow me to explain something kindly. Okay, what happened was this. I got this invitation yesterday. I think it was less than 24 hours to come and sit here for the vetting. I was in Nairobi and I got...
Submit, Joyce. You are saying you got the invitation yesterday?
Yes.
When was that? What? We did our advert Wednesday last week.
Wednesday last week?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I never received it. Now, can I proceed? Yes, now what happened was this. I was in Nairobi attending a conference. In the process of the conference proceedings, the permanent secretary of education was at the podium and was making a speech. Now I could not move out to go and make a call. Then in the process, I had to wait, and then I got a call that you're supposed to be coming for vetting today. In fact, I was taken aback a bit.
Dr. Joyce,
Yeah.
Did you receive any letter from the governor?
Yes, I did.
Nominating you to be the CC?
Yes, I did.
And you don't bother to check
Not
what
that
the next step is?
Sorry, sir. I did not that I didn't bother to check. Not that I didn't bother to check.
Because, the panelists are here and you are saying that you only learned about your appearance before the vetting committee yesterday. And you are confirming that you received a letter from the governor nominating you to be the CC member for water, environment, natural resources and climate change. And I can confirm that I received a copy of the letter that was sent to you by the governor. And you didn't bother to check what next. When did you pick your questionnaire?
The questionnaire was sent online to me.
Was sent online? When?
Yes. Because I was in Nairobi.
No, when?
Yesterday. Yesterday around 10.
Anyway, so you don't have the current submission to EACC?
No, I don't have the current submission to EAC, but I wanted to make a request that maybe you could, we could agree. We could agree on a date so that I present them at an agreeable time. If you don't, that is my request.
Anyway, honorable members, I can see the copy of 2023 in the file. What normally happens is that nominees have to submit their request for check to the EACC, which we also do as the vetting committee. But I think I want to suggest that the nominee is here, so we'll make that determination at the end. So I want to request that by indulgence of the members, we proceed. Now, can you give this one to the members? Can you? We'll be asking you some questions. And as I stated, You can write if there are more than one question. You choose the order in which you want to answer them. So I will start with the Honorable Seth. You want to start? Proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. First of all, Madam Dr. Joyce Okayo, I want to congratulate you for being nominated and your name forwarded to the County Assembly for vetting. Madam Joyce, in your testimonials, you have indicated that you were published reports in your PhD while you're doing your PhD on issues to do with mitigation of floods in Kano Plains. And you have also in 2015, you did indicate that in your PhD reports that you did, I believe it was a thesis on challenges of implementing community sensitization strategies for flood disaster mitigation in Kano Plains. And you have a published project on awareness raising on climate change with local communities. I believe so. And I want you to ask you a very, very relevant question, which is indicated in your PhD reports, Madam Dr. Okayo. And you are aware that climate change poses an existential threat to Kisumu County, particularly in the form of increased flooding, rising temperatures, and erratic rainfall patterns that disrupt agriculture and livelihoods. What is your strategic vision for countrywide climate change mitigation and adaptation plan? That is question one. And question two, how will you integrate traditional knowledge with modern science to build community resilience? And question three is that what role do you foresee for public-private partnership in achieving these goals?
Our nominee,
just 3 questions.
I think you can have 3 minutes. There are 3 questions, 1 minute each. Proceed.
Thank you for the questions. They are relevant. The first one, I'd respond as follows. You are talking about what I need to do in terms of, kindly just remind me the first question.
The first question is that what is your strategic vision for county-wide climate change mitigation and adaptation plans?
Okay, thank you. My county-wide vision, and in terms of strategic plan, I mean mitigation and adaptation plan, is public-private partnership. That's what I see as really, really very important, because the problem with climate change that results in floods is normally a management issue, like problems of management of infrastructure. If people manage their infrastructure well, there would be no problem. So the thing is, we need to include every person. Everybody should be involved. For example, in this strategy, let us look at involving all sectors, like the transport sector. Let the housing sector, because they're going to design the houses. These houses are supposed to be at this point or at that point, and they're going to use specific materials for such like housing. We also need to involve the society. Everybody needs to come. It's like a tripartite kind of adaptation and mitigation measure where you don't leave anybody behind. Everybody is contributing in one way or the other. And other than just private partnership, we need to have a capacity building. It's really, really very, very important for such areas. And there's also the need for biodiversity. if we think of biodiversity, let us not have just one economic diversification is also very, very important as an aspect of trying to look at whether we can involve everybody into thinking about climate change mitigation and adaptation priorities. Let us not look at planting just one aspect of crop. Let us diversify what we do. We can do economic diversification other than just looking at things that affect the environment only or those that affect the land. Let us move outside what we are seeing in terms of foreseeing that one area is contributing towards this, just like the human being is contributing to this aspect in terms of the degradation of land where they are putting up their houses. So in a sense, what we are saying, the vision for mitigation measure that we are seeing that runs ahead is that of people coming together, different sectors, because all sectors are affected. It's not just one sector that is affected. Now, you asked about what role do I foresee in the what? And the public? Public-private partnership is the key thing everywhere. We are not saying I can do it alone. This is what I'm saying. So if that role of the public and the private are put together, the public and the private will work in tandem. That is, I will do this, you will do that. We bring everything together because all the private partnerships have got their different laws, rules, and regulations. We look at what the public wants. The public says, yes, we need this. Probably you'll go and have a needs assessment, and then in the process and say, this is the area that we are looking to come up with the work or the role of the partners. So the partners have got that part of giving you the funding, capacity building, as well as you.
Through chair, Madam, you are a teacher.
Yes.
And you taught in my former school. I am alumni of Kisumu Day Secondary School. You know, when we talk about climate change issues, which is a global phenomenon, affecting areas to do with increased flooding, rising temperature, erratic rainfall patterns, the patterns which cannot be predicted. What are your mitigation measures? What are you going to do? Because you are talking about issues to do with housing. How does housing affect erratic rainfall patterns? Because when we talk about climate change, we talk about environmental degradation. What are your plans? How you are going to achieve this as a teacher?
Okay.
Maybe I believe now I'm your student. What are we going to do as your students to achieve this?
Dr. Joyce, what the panelist is asking, can you come home to Kisumu County? And I think in his opening remarks, he talked about Kano. I think he went through your, would have been a thesis. Yeah, there's some reference you've made in your submissions. So come home to Kisumu County. No. And look at what happens. And I like his reference of the Nyando area, Kisumu East. You are aware of what happens there. So come home and give your strategic proposals or vision in terms of mitigation and adaptation.
Thank you very much. Probably I misunderstood the question. Thank you for making that correction. Now, he's talked about erratic rainfall patterns. This is as a result of climate change. And climate change is brought about by human interference as one of the reasons, like cutting down of trees. Apart from cutting down of the trees, there is the rising water level. Now, if you look at the Nyando floods is what it is because of the way the human beings do not want to move away from where they are. We already have dikes that have been put up. What I was trying to say in terms of the infrastructure is that the dikes are not being managed. They are not being managed as
Dr. Joyce,
infrastructure.
how is the refusal of people to move away from where they're living causing floods?
Sorry?
If I'm living in Gabonyo Kanyagwal and I have refused to move away from that place, how is it causing floods?
What I'm saying is that it's not that when you live in Bonyo Kanyakware, you're the one causing the floods because you live there. What I'm trying to say, that flooding is as a result of the fact that there is the high water, is as a result of the activities of man, in the sense that they sit wherever they are. When they are told to move, that the floods are about to affect them, they'll say, I'll merely hold my feet where I was born. I'm not moving away because this is where my grandfather, my grandmother was.
Dr. Joyce, I don't know if you are listening to yourself. You are saying the rising of water is as a result of the activity of man. And you are giving an example of when they are told to move away. So that's what I'm asking you. How is the refusal of people to move away from those areas causes the rise of water in the lake?
No, it doesn't. Sorry, it doesn't cause at all. It doesn't. The rising of the water is because of the climate change. There are those places that are receiving more rainfall more than others, whereas those that are drought, now like Kano Plains, has a lot of flooding. The flooding is due to, we normally say it's the man's activity. Apart from the man's activity, we say the seasons have changed. And the dikes that are there.
What are some of the man's activity?
Sorry?
What are some of the man's activity that are
man's
causing?
Activities.
Yeah.
One of them is clearing of land.
So the Nyando people have cleared their lands, so there is floods. I just want you to be practical. You know, you are going to be the CC member for water, environment, natural resource, and climate change. And one of the key issues you're going to deal with is what Honorable Cecm has asked you about. Flood. And he has linked it to climate change. And I've seen that even in your PhD, you did something on disaster management and response, including your master's. In your undergraduate, I think you did something on education. So you have enough experience and you've lived here. Whether you are born in Homa Bay or where, I know there are flood issues in Homa Bay, there are flood issues in Siaya, Busia, Kisumu. I've looked at your CV. I am 100% convinced that you are able to answer that question. But I fail to understand when you keep on repeating that, climate change is a result of human activity. Yes, we agree. Now come to Kisumu. What are the human activities that is causing floods in Nyando? I want you to be, I'm trying to help you. Yeah? So that you are practical.
Yes.
Are you aware that the national government, the Kenyan government, has got a master plan which has not been achieved to mitigate floods in Kano Plains by constructing a dam? And do you know the name of the proposed dam? You are not aware. Have you heard of something called Kurusoin Dam to mitigate floods in Kano? It's a song which has been sung everywhere. Raila Odinga talks about it. Professor Nyang' Nyong'o talks about it. Uhuru Kenyatta talked about it. Money was appropriated towards that dam. It has never been achieved. You are not aware of such thing. Maybe you are living. You are not in Kenya. Chair, you can proceed. I rest my.
We can go to the next question. I want to give an opportunity to Honorable Eunice Aland.
Thank you, Speaker.
Madam Joyce, once you are through with the question, just switch off the microphone.
Thank you, Speaker, for the chance. To Dr. Kayo, first of all, I want to congratulate you for having been nominated as my fellow lady. I congratulate you. And going by your credentials, I believe you are aware that environmental conservation often conflicts with the economic development. Yet both are critical for the county's growth. How do you intend to strike a balance between fostering economic development and ensuring the protection of Kisumu County's natural resources? That is one question. Second, can you outline your approach to integrating environmental conservation into all sectors of county planning, and how you will manage potential trade-offs?
Those are three questions. I want to give you 3 minutes and watch your time. Maybe 1 minute for each question. I think they are very direct.
Thank you. The first question, in terms of balancing, I'll respond as follows. We've talked about biodiversity as well as, was it the natural resources? How we can strike a balance, because what we can do is to institute policies and rules that will say, yes, we have this area that requires that we strike a balance with the natural resource and the other for its use. So let us not overuse in terms of what the human person wants, in terms of probably even food security, as well as other items. But the thing is, let us have it in such a way that when we have a policy or a rules or regulations or enforcements, then that bit is enough to say, yes, we can use it up to this level. And if we use it up to this level, then it means we are enforcing those rules so that that biodiversity and striking a balance with the human activities and the natural resources is put together. Then in the second one, kindly remind me about the question outline.
Dr. Joyce, in my opening remarks, I said you have a book and a pen. Yes. So, we are also looking at you in terms of, can you switch off your microphone? In terms of how you take instruction. I don't know if you will be in the cabinet meeting and you'll be asking the governor to repeat his comments every now and then, because you have been nominated to be as county executive committee member for water. You'll be sitting in the cabinet if these members approve you. I am not 100% sure if you will be probing the governor. The reason why we have given you the pen and a book there is that if you are asked more than one question, take your notes. But I give you the leeway of answering the way you want, from question last or second question or the first question. But I saw it when the first panelists asked you questions. You asked him almost 3 times. What did you ask? I'm seeing the same with the second panelist. So I'm worried. Proceed.
Thank you.
My second question was, can you outline your approach to integrating environmental conservation into all sector of county planning? And lastly, how will you manage potential trade-offs?
Thank you. I'll deal with integration of an environmental conservation through putting together all sectors within the county government where there is an area where each sector must bring in environmental conservation. It will not only be left to the county executive member for environment. It will go to other departments so that at least at one particular moment or when they are making their plans, we will know this sector has this to do for the environment. That other sector has also this to do for the environment. Then how to manage potential trade-offs. Yes, the trade-offs are there. What can be done basically is simply through legislation, capacity building, communication, time and again. Thank you.
What are some of the possible trade-offs that you will propose?
Some of the trade-offs that I'll propose include capacity building,
How is capacity building a trade-off? What are you...
Sorry.
Capacity building versus what?
Sorry, trade-off are the problems. Maybe you can pass that.
We pass that, okay. Honorable Dede.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. Daktari, being that we've been facing chronic water shortage within Kisumu County, not only mostly in the urban settlement region, we've been facing water challenges. What measures will you take to at least see that we get clean and equitable, sustainable water within Kisumu County?
2 minutes.
Thank you for the question. One thing is through equitable distribution of water. That's very, very important for people to get. Everybody has to get at least an equal measure of water. Secondly, we need to look at the infrastructure development of the water sector. What do we have in terms of what is on the ground? So if it is the pipes that are smaller, we better make them big so that everybody gets at a particular time. At a particular moment where if we do the management in terms of the infrastructure that is built and improved, then we know everybody is bound to get some water. And we also need to enforce legislation on water such that we look at issues to do with those that keep stealing water. When people steal water, we know at one particular moment, sometimes when it's supposed to get to somebody, I don't get because so and so stole the water. So if we do law enforcement, then I know for sure that those people who do not get because somebody has stolen will be found out. So those are the 3 areas we are talking about in terms of ensuring that everybody gets water within the community.
Dr. Joyce, going with the question that Honorable Dede has asked, I listened to your response. You talked about equitable distribution of water. And then you say that you will ensure that everybody gets equal share. attempting to ensure that at least everybody has equal share. Is that what you said?
I meant equitable distribution of water is that when we have a zone like, an example like Nyalenda, let every person who has tapped water get water within a specified period of time. So that if I'm meant to have this water today, let us also have the other person also have it tomorrow. If, for example, we missed it today, tomorrow, let those people who missed may also get it.
So that's your reference to equitable distribution of water. Proceed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How will you ensure, just riding on what Honorable Dede has asked, how will you ensure that, or assuming that this committee gives you a nod and convinces the chamber that you are supposed to be the CC member for water, environment, and natural resource and climate change? How will you address the disparities in water access between urban and rural communities?
To address the disparities between in water access between the urban and rural communities, or to address the disparities in water distribution between the urban and the rural communities, we'll be doing what we call timing of the times that the water needs to be, not really timing, but you'll be enforcing laws in water distribution, such that all areas should be able to be accessible to water in terms of pumping water enough from their pump stations that should go to those places that they're supposed to be.
Let me assist you, Dr. Joyce. I want you to now talk as the CC member for water. Yeah? And you've realized that there is a disparity in terms of water provision between the urban areas and the rural areas. I believe as now you must know, you should be able to differentiate. When I talk of urban area, when I talk of rural area, you should be able to know. Now you are the CC member. Address that.
Thank you very much. As the CC member for water, how to address the issue of the disparity in urban against the rural areas would be through enforcement of the county, those people within the wards. We have people who will be responsible down at those areas who will be ensuring that water is supposed to be reaching those places. We should be having, what do we call this? The water, what is it? I've just forgotten.
Okay?
Yes, Mr.
Dr. Joyce, keep on. When you are through with the answering, just switch off your microphone.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. You can proceed. I think it has been going on.
Okay. Maybe I give an opportunity to another panelist to ask you a question. Though I'm not very much convinced in how you are addressing the disparity between the rural and urban water supply as a CC member. Huh? But anyway, let's proceed. Let me give an opportunity to Honorable Karen. You have a question, Honorable Karen?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Dr. Okayo, I have two questions for you. Lake Victoria is both vital resource and vulnerable ecosystem. The lake faces multiple threats, including pollution, overfishing, and invasive species. which have profound implications for the livelihoods of those who depend on it. What is your comprehensive strategy to address these challenges? That's question number 1. And 2, how will you ensure that conversion efforts are balanced with the socio-economic needs of the communities surrounding the lake?
You can repeat your questions.
Okay. Lake Victoria is both a vital resource and vulnerable ecosystem. The lake faces multiple threats, including pollution, overfishing, and invasive species, which have profound implications for the livelihoods of those who depend on it. So my question number 1 is, what is your comprehensive strategy to address these challenges? And number 2, how will you ensure that conversion efforts are balanced with the socioeconomic needs of the communities surrounding the lake?
Thank you. For the first question, the best one can do is through instituting policies, regulations against pollution, regulations against overfishing, regulations against invasive use of the lake. That is one strategy in terms of the policies. Then another issue is very, very important in terms of capacity building of the people within the region, that is within the county region that has the problem of overfishing, pollution. Let them be capacity built on the dangers of pollution, on the dangers of overfishing, because they are depending on that lake. It is the lake that feeds them. The lake gives them the water. At the same time, they are polluting it. So they need to be capacity built on this. Then we can also use public-private partnership. Partnership is important. We can get who is it that can assist with, even if it's infrastructure or pollution, in terms of what can a group bring and what can't a group bring. So in all cases, I feel all persons are relevant in terms of capacity building, and apart from capacity building, we look at the issues of partnerships, because partnerships is one important area that whatever you do, you cannot do it all alone unless you have those that are helping you, pulling you from one end, pulling you from the back, and in all sides. Thank you.
Opinion on fish cage farming, the fish cage farming in relation to environmental conservation vis-a-vis economic development and livelihood.
Thank you. I'd want to say that fish farming in the form of cage fishing, that is the end thing today for most people who would wish to do what? To have food, ready-made food from the lake. But at the end of the day, they are invading the what? The fish. I mean, they are invading the fish life and even the other aquatic life that is there. So we are saying they are introducing certain wrong things into the lake. They should be stopped instead of continuing. Or if at all they have to continue, then a legislation has to be put. Yes, you can only do cage farming up to a particular moment, up to a particular area, sorry. This area should be reserved for other activities. One area can be used for cage farming. But at the end of the day, we are saying if we are supposed to look at the environment that is being degraded or the water that is being polluted, then we say at the end of the day, this is not the best thing to do. So for me, in my opinion, I'd say, let us stop the fish cage farming. It's not good at all because it's polluting the waters.
But how are people going to survive? I thought I'm getting confused. At one point you were saying it's the in thing. Then in your honest opinion, you are proposing that it's a danger to the environment. In this case, I believe you mean the environment is the water.
Yes.
So if it were your powers, you would say that let's stop cage farming. That's what I had. If it were your powers.
That's what I would say.
Okay. Honorable Boyton.
Chair, through you, Chair.
Okay. Honorable Seth Kanga.
Madam Waziri Nominee, Daktari, are you sure you want to be a CC of water and environment? Yet you are talking about when you become a CC, you want to talk about stopping cage farming. Yet livelihoods of millions of people who are depending from cage farming directly and indirectly are very many. And cage farming is not just a policy for the environment department. It's a cross-cut policy which is also domiciled under the Ministry of Fisheries. In the government, in the county government, we have a CECs in charge of agriculture, fisheries, and livestock development. If you are aware of that, how comes in your policy? Because you will be in charge of policy formulations. And you have talked about legislations which will come unto this house for approval. How will you mitigate and stop cage farming? Yet there are several agencies dealing with that issue. Because when you talk about cage farming, the public is watching you. Even the fishermen right now are watching you. Now, the county government of Kisumu, we are the representatives of the people, wants to approve a CEC, whom in her policy wants to stop cage farming, Mr. Chair. I think this needs to be addressed so that the people watching us are able to know that the representatives of the people are up to the task, and the CEC, who is yet to be approved, whom we are about to approve, is talking about stopping cage farming. Can you guide us through that so that we are satisfied that we are approving the right person for the job? Thank you.
Madam.
Can I withdraw, please?
I just switch off your microphone. I will always give you time to respond. You have all the time. I want to give you an opportunity once again. And I think I'm doing this one, but let members not see that I'm trying to guide you. Let me give you an opportunity once again to present yourself in terms of economic development vis-a-vis environmental conservation. In exactly 1 minute, what are you going to suggest to this panelist in terms of environmental conservation vis-a-vis economic development? And I want to bias yourself in reference to cage farming.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of economic development vis-a-vis conservation, then let me say as this. We are talking about development in terms of food. We may need food that people depend on, and that's one area also as their source of livelihood. So the best one can do, in as much as we are talking about economic development vis-a-vis the conservation, the best one can do is to bring in legislative frameworks that would be useful for both areas, so that in as much as we are saying we are developing and at the same time we are looking at economic development, and at the same time we are thinking of conservation in terms of probably biodiversity, then the best that one can do, in my opinion, is just to bring in legislation that will be useful for both areas of economic development as well as conservation, so that we come to, it's like we are coming in between with those two. We get a landing point or a landing base where if I do one, it will be okay. If I don't do, it will not be okay. So that's how I understand that bit. Thank you.
Dr. Joyce, when you are through with the responding, switch off your microphone.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I believe that the nominee before this panel today has heard about what we call County Fiscal Strategy Paper. And this is a very important component in terms of budgeting for a county. And Section 117 of Public Finance Management Act 2012 mandates the Treasury, that is the county treasury, to prepare and submit to the county executive committee the county fiscal strategy paper for the approval by the Treasury. Thereafter, the county fiscal strategy paper is submitted to the county assembly by 28th of February. I'm taking you bit by bit because I don't want to repeat the question the way you will be taking some panelists. This is done every year. In preparing the county fiscal strategy paper, the county treasury must ensure that the county fiscal strategy paper is aligned with the national objectives in the budget policy statement. Are we together up to that point? Good. In your understanding of the county fiscal strategy paper, explain to this panel the important components that you would apply in analyzing the county fiscal strategy paper when it is brought before the county executive committee.
3 minutes.
The physical strategy paper I would refer to as the county finance paper. Now what happens, the issues that I look at will be those that will be based on performance. Now performance here, we'll be looking at those issues to do with expenditure as well as the revenue collection. We want to confirm whether those areas are realistic in terms of if this is what we had budgeted for to expend. Is it also the same thing that we are seeing in terms of what we are expending on? So that we want to confirm the reality of what is on the ground in that county strategy physical paper. Then another area I would look at is when a budget has been brought before you, for you to examine. It's also important to check whether there are any priority areas, whether those areas that were budgeted for are still the very areas that are being, are the ones that are having that kind of money and how they are performing. So in a sense, we want to find out if there are any other areas that are coming up as priority so that in future they could be budgeted for. Then we also look at the performance of the other sectors. And this one is something to do with the ceiling. The ceiling is now that revenue that is allocated to all other sectors. Now, if I'll be looking at this county fiscal strategy paper, one area that I'm also likely to make a reference to is the ceiling. How are they performing? Then at that point, I shall have been convinced that yes, this is the paper that has been brought before us, and I'm looking at it, and these are the findings from it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Switch off your microphone. What other papers do you know that falls within the budget making process?
The other papers that fall within the budget making process include the county integrated development plan. That should be part of it. We also have the reviewed budget process. That's all I can remember. Thank you.
You talked of reviewed budget process. What is it about? The one that you mentioned last. What is it about?
This is that review paper that comes. The county sits down, looks at, and brought to the county assembly, and then they make a conclusion that probably this is what we want to use for our budget. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any difference between that one and the CFSP, what you've talked about last? What's the difference between what you've talked about last and the CFSP? Because I heard you mention something on performance review. You were checking how you performed, and then you again talk of review. What's the difference between the two?
Kindly, can we pass that?
Seth Kanga.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, my question, Madam Daktari, my questions has got something to do with revenue collections in Kisumu County and counties in Kenya in general. Kisumu County has not been meeting its revenue collection targets as expected following the establishments of county governments in Kenya. Kisumu County is expected to collect its own revenue to mitigate between allocation from central government and their own budget, which means we get revenue from the central government, which is allocated, and the revenue we generate from the revenue payers. Kisumu County government and other counties have failed to meet the revenue targets. And as a CC, how will you mitigate and evaluate to make sure that we collect revenue in your department so that we are able to meet our budgets?
Thank you.
Proceed.
I would say that the issue of revenue collection is a problem, just like you've mentioned, in many counties. Now, what I'll do is to have rigorous enforcement in terms of collection. And what do I mean by this rigorous enforcement? One, sometimes we do not tell people a number of times that, please, you're supposed to do 1, 2, 3. We are supposed to collect this, or even if it's about taxes, we do not follow people to find out exactly whether those enforcements in terms of the person who is in charge of trying to find out whether they are actually enforcing what is supposed to be done in terms of the laws that are there, then mine would be all the time trying to communicate, trying to find out, because sometimes you're told you cannot get people to do one thing once you only tell them once. Keep telling them a number of times and try to follow up these law enforcement persons, whether they are catching up in terms of collecting that revenue. That's what I'm likely to do in my department. Secondly, we have been using technology to collect taxes, to collect revenue. I've seen that, like sometimes you get to town, you park your car, and somebody already comes up to that point to try and do what? Sometimes if you don't pay, your car is clamped. But then, this technology that is used for collecting that money, at the end of collection, we don't know exactly where this money lands and what it does so much. Could I be lying? Am I lying? Am I lying? Huh? Yes, because sometimes you even find that you go and somebody asks you, no, I'm just parking for a short period of time. Why can't you let me go? I will not collect. So even that gadget does not work quite well. So in my opinion, we look for advanced gadgets that can get everybody else to be identified wherever you are in terms of collecting that revenue from the public. Thank you.
Switch off your microphone. In your opinion, if you are approved to be the CC member for water, environment, natural resources, climate change, what are some of the possible areas of revenue collection in your department?
Thank you. Possible areas of revenue collection in my department would be, one, when I get people who throw papers on the street. There would be some people who will be standing somewhere just trying to find out who is throwing litter, because the litter is part of the waste. And when the wastes accumulate just around all over without anybody trying to put it in the right place, it would be wrong. So one area of revenue collection in my area would be that those throwing litter all over the place. Then secondly, let me stop at that.
You collect revenue from me. If I throw litter, how do you collect revenue from me? How is it called? What do you do to collect revenue from me?
We'll have to have people around. You see, like those people who walk around with you see those enforcement officers who are in uniform, and they come around with the machine. I'll have to introduce one for anybody who is just throwing litter around, because litter is a problem for the environment. And the environment, once there's that litter, it will be part of accumulation of climate change. That's what I'm looking at. Thank you.
Something. What is it, Seth Kanga?
This is not which is very, very, very important. Dr. Joyce Okayo has indicated that she taught in several schools. Is that true?
Yes.
In Kisumu Day between 1990 to
yes,
to 1999.
Yes.
And several schools. But in your testimonials, I have never seen your appointment letter by the Teacher Service Commission. I'm just seeing your appointment letter, which was you were appointed in 2017 by the Teacher Service Commission as a principal technical diploma teacher and you were deployed at Shamberere Technical Training College. Can you show us your appointment letter before you were deployed to these several secondary schools?
Yes, I can. Let me share them with you.
Where are they?
They are here. Just one.
For original testimonials, but you decided to.
They are not included in your nini, in your testimonials.
I'm sorry about that. What happened was, as I was running this way, this one was brought to me when I just come in. It had left it somewhere. So I'm sorry about that. So
Yeah, as you bring it, Honorable Eunice. Honorable Eunice.
Yeah, time I can see. She's still busy. Should I just proceed?
Give maybe 1 minute to present that. Yeah, just put them in the file and give us. We'll bring them to you. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll make sure that they come back. They are safe. So just give the Senator time.
not here, but there's one appointment from Dede. When I left Dede Girls High School, I was in Dede for 6 months. Then I moved to Kisumu Day. So what I used to move to Kisumu Day is a letter of transfer. Then from Kisumu Day, I also moved to Kisumu Boys through a letter of transfer.
You were employed by the TSC?
Yes, I was employed by the Teacher Service Commission.
You were in Kisumu Day from 1990 to 1999?
Yes, please.
Who were the principals in Kisumu Day when you worked in Kisumu Day?
There was Mr. Moenga Motanya, and there was also Mr. Mola.
Who took over from Mr. Moenga Motanya?
I may have just forgotten. Sorry for that.
I want to assist you, Dr. Joyce. You have your TSC number? You know it? What's your TSC number? Just mention it. We can verify that.
21 74 16.
21
74 16. Then we were taken to Technical Training Institute, so we were moved to Public Service Commission. So when we moved to Public Service Commission, I was given another PSA number, which
What is it?
1989 140. Is what? 140 what? I can't remember offhand, but I can look for it. It could be somewhere in my letters. Then I took early retirement.
You are confirming that in the prior engagements you had TSC appointment letters. You are confirming in the prior engagements as a teacher you had TSC appointment letters.
Yeah, I had transfer letters from those very.
No, not transfer. Transfer is once you have been appointed, then you can be transferred to any school. But I'm saying when you were employed for the first time, like I'm seeing there is one year that you were given in 2017. So you had a TSC appointment letter for the first employment?
Yes, I had, and it's in the file.
In this file?
Yeah, the first TSC appointment letter.
In which year?
1989.
Can you just check if...
Chair, I've checked. I'm not seeing any appointment. Can I avail it to you so that you can check?
Yes, please.
Please.
Hello, Seth. There is a file there. You can check. That we have the TSC number. I think there's a way you can verify the same. But let me give an opportunity to Honorable Eunice. Yeah, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Daktari, I'm back to you again with a simple question. According to your understanding on the legislative processes with the county government, what are the approaches within which a legislation can be proposed?
I think that's that's very simple. 1 minute.
Through policy, through policy. And then through, when there is no policy, those two areas.
When there is no policy, what is it?
When there's a non-existent policy and maybe there's a problem that is arising, so we can do that.
Okay, Honorable Boyton.
Thank you, Chair. Daktari, our Excellency the Governor, Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, entered a covenant with the people of Kisumu County in his manifesto and formed what we call a 10-point agenda for the people of Kisumu County. Would you mention a few of this agenda?
Some of the agenda that were included in the manifesto were through the renewal. It was about refurbishing Jaramogi Odinga Hospital, and also to work on Kisumu urban areas so that it becomes what? I can only remember those two. The refurbishing and improvement of Jaramogi Odinga Hospital.
Before we come to the end of the vetting process, have you heard about FLOCA? What is FLOCA?
It's a fully funded climate change action initiatives.
FLOCA in full.
Sorry?
The acronym FLOCA, what is it in full?
Fully funded local climate action.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Fully?
Yes.
FLOCA in full.
Sorry.
Based on disaster management, so I'm 100% sure you must be aware of FLOCA. Because apart from your undergraduate degree, the rest I've seen you are biased on environment, disaster management, and such like. So I am convinced here. And coincidentally, FLOCA is going to fall in your department. So I just want to know if you, by the way, if you go in, it may be the first thing that you're dealing with. So maybe an attempt again, FLOCA in full.
A fully funded local climate action.
You can check. Anyway, you will you will Google and see and confirm if that's exactly what you well, that's what it means. Now, Dr. Joyce, how many wards do we have in Kisumu County?
We have 7 wards.
Name them. Maybe name.
Kisumu Central, Kisumu East, Nyalenda,
Proceed.
we have 35 wards, sorry. That one was sub-county. We have so many wards.
How many?
I think 35.
Name 10.
Moroni, Nyalenda, Obonga, let me stop at that, please.
Yes.
Madam Joyce, you know, Chair, you know, the public is watching you. And as a county assembly, we are answerable to the county. We are answerable to the people. Yet we want to pass a CEC who cannot even mention 7 wards. A CEC who cannot differentiate between a sub-county or a constituency, between a sub-county and a ward. Yet you want us to pass you, Dr. Joyce, who is not even well conversant with our geographical boundaries. Do you think you are fair to us as a county? You cannot even mention even 3 wards alone. And the Obonga people are watching you, and you are saying that Obonga is a ward. Please be fair to us and be fair to the people of Kisumu County. Please mention even 10 wards in this, to this honorable house, to the people of Kisumu County. Thank you, Chair.
You want me to give another chance?
Yes, Manyata.
Okay, start. 10.
Manyata, Migosi, is my head. Kondele, Nyawita. Let me stop at that. I'll try.
Okay, Honorable Dede, any supplementary question?
Shauri Moyo. They are coming one by one. I think even my head.
Anyway, I'm shocked that you can't answer that, but I even did introduction of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 words in front of you. Anyway, let's proceed. Honorable Dede.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Chair. Being that I chair the Water Committee, perhaps a petition has been brought to the Assembly concerning the continuous increase in water tariffs. What if I take the initiative to Waziri to assist us in the regular increment in tariffs? What answers can we give to the community? Thank you.
Maybe Waziri has not gone through reduction. Tariffs are charges in what the public are charged in water consumption. So the chair of water is asking that now you are the CC. Then the public are complaining that, oh, you know, we are being overcharged and the rest. So respond, you are the CC.
Thank you. What I'll do is, first of all, you have to take note down the complaint. Once you have noted down the complaint, try to find out, that's like a complaint resolution, try to find out how it came about. So once you've identified how it came about, you need to communicate back to the people who made the complaint. So after making a communication to the people who made that complaint, then you need to start making a resolution of that complaint. And you have to resolve that complaint. And once you have resolved it, in the process of resolution, you need to invite the parties that had a problem. Let them be explained to that this is the reason that these tariffs were the way they were. That is probably they were a little bit higher because of 1, 2, 3. If not, you have to look for, or you even escalate it else to somewhere and find out whether there was something much more than what was on the ground in terms of what you identified and explained to them. Then at the end of it all, you note it down for purposes of accountability, because you are going to say, there was this issue that was brought to us, and this is how we attended to it. And this is the evidence or the documentation about it. Thank you.
Madam Joyce, what is your county of residence?
Currently, my county of residence is Kakamega.
In Kakamega for how long?
I've been in Kakamega for the last 12 years.
Okay. And I want to ask this one, maybe you can answer or not. You have seen in your file that you did something on some course on governance, Kenya School of Government. You did something on governance in the Kenya School of Government. Have you worked with the government before?
Yes, I have, with the public service as a government.
What I meant, either in a county or in a national government. I know you are in the university at this Parasatol, but I'm asking in the mainstream.
No, not yet.
So, but you decided to take the study in Kenya School of Government for purposes of what you are doing now?
Yes, I did that because at the level in which I was a lecturer at Shamberere Technical Training Institute, and we had just been taken back to public service. So they said, if you had reached a certain level, then you must ensure that you go for a senior management course.
What is your last station of voting? Where did you vote last?
My last station was in Kakamega.
I'm asking the polling station.
The polling station is Ebuambwa
Mbwambwa.
Primary School.
Stream?
Sorry?
Which stream, or you can't recall?
No,
Okay.
sorry. Constituency is Lurambi. The current MP for Lurambi, I've forgotten the name.
Okay. Members, I think we come to the end of the vetting, but I want to give opportunity for Dr. Joyce, at least one more chance. If you have a question to the panelist, or if you have a comment. And in the comment, 3 things. One, in fact, this one, let me ask, then I don't give you another time so that I don't eat into your time. What's your net worth?
My net worth is 7.0 million. Yes.
Comprising of?
It comprises 2 pieces of land, one measuring 0.02 hectares. The other is about 0.2 hectares, one in Homa Bay, one in Kisumu Lakers Estate. Then I also have CIC money market fund worth 900,000 shillings currently. Then I also save with Britam, currently 444,000 shillings. Then I also have savings with Mwalimu Sacco Cooperative, currently at 1.2 million. Then that's all.
Worth is 7M. I want to give you an opportunity once again. If you are appointed the next 100 days, what do you plan to achieve?
Thank you. What I'd plan to achieve is a very simple thing. One, I'd look at the policies that are there. One thing, I'll have to review some of the policies if there's need, because those policies sometimes really arise from the fact that they're supposed to help or solve a situation. So if they are not solving any situation, I'll have to look at them and see, yes, for the next 100
Dr.
days.
Joyce, I've given you an opportunity to tell these members what you are going to achieve in the next 100 days. You want to say that the police are there. By the way, the position that you are nominated to head, somebody was there. Somebody was there. You are coming as a replacer. So you say in 100 days, you just want to review the policy. You know, when you are coming, you are saying, I've heard about Kisumu. I believe when the governor nominated you, you've done research about Kisumu. When you received the letter, I don't know, there is some confidence he had in you. Well, that's the reason why maybe he nominated you. Then you are saying, I'm coming to the Department of Water. This is what I want to do. Unless, do you understand what the role of a CC member of water does?
Yes, I do. So in the next 100 days, allow me to say this, we'll be looking at the issue of the water scarcity in Kisumu. It's been there a number of times. So we better look for ways through which we can ensure that everybody gets that water. And that water should be water of quality. That is all I think I should be doing, because it's not a 1 day's job or even just 100 days only, because water is very scarce. And yet we have the Lake Victoria with us here. There must be something which is making us not even have that water.
So in
Those are
100
the
days, you will ensure that everybody has water. You know, I'm just trying to help you. I'm just trying to help you.
Chair.
Something. Yeah, what is it, Honorable Baiton?
Sorry, Chair. May I just ask a very simple question? Why do we prefer drinking bottled water against the tap water that you intend to provide to us?
Oh, the thing is because that water is polluted. You prefer the bottled water against the tap water because there is the feeling that tap water is polluted, and that's the reason people are going for what? For the bottled water. So pollution is now the main thing that somebody would have to look at, like me. I look for ways of solving the issue of pollution of the water of Kisumu County. Thank you.
In 100 days, that's what you deal with. Anyway, let me give you an opportunity. If you have any question, any comment, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. I want to say I'm very, very grateful for you spending your time with me, giving me the opportunity to sit and talk with you. I've known faces that I hadn't. At least now I know the people who are in this room, except now when you mention so many names, at the end of the day, you don't even know who, but I'll remember the chair. Now, I would like this as a comment, just as a matter of consideration. I said it before, and I'll continue to say it again. Okay, it's about, I looked like I did not make an effort to go get information about this vetting. Kindly, I'm asking that I be given time to present the documents that I was unable to present earlier on due to the circumstances that I found myself in.
You want to a close of business?
Kindly give me 2 days.
Because we are proceeding to discuss you in your absence. So I'm giving you by midday tomorrow. Now we come to the end of the vetting process. I want to inform you that this committee will be retreating to discuss you in your absence. Alongside your presentation, and we have what you submitted. We have your CV and all the documents that you've submitted. So we rely on that, plus your submissions, and make a decision. But I want to wish you the best. Should the committee make a decision to approve you, well, good. If they don't make, you still serve the country. But it's upon the committee to make a decision whether they agree with you or not. But what I can say as the chair of the appointment committee is I wish you the best. Sergeant Atam, kindly take back the original documents to the nominee. And please take your time to confirm the ID. There was an ID. Confirm if you have the ID there. Then the Sergeant Atam will assist you outside. And have a blessed day. Dr. Joyce.